Hello children, welcome back to Be Toppers. Today we are going to see a new topic which is going to be interesting. First, I'll show you a few clips. Please see the clips and you'll get an idea what our topic is going to be for today. Are you ready to see the clips, children? Yes, have a look at these. Children, here you have a look at how our flag is flying high in the sky. Our Indian flag is flying high. Are you able to see the flying of the flag? Yes. We'll see the next clipping. Here you are able to see the leaves of the trees swaying. Swaying is the to and fro movement. You are able to see the movement of the leaves? What do you think is the reason behind this? Let us find out. Now I have a balloon in hand. So I am going to blow it. I think this will be your favorite activity during your birthday parties, right? So, what have I blown into this balloon? So, did you get the idea of what our topic is going to be for today? Can you guess the topic, children? I hope you have guessed it right. Our topic today is going to be air. So, today, our topic is going to be about air. We are going to learn more and more about air. Before we go into the details, let us see the discovery of air. Who discovered air? Air was discovered by a scientist called John Mayo. He said that the air contains two components. One is active component, the other is inactive component. But he didn't give any naming for the components. He just said that air has two components, that is active and inactive component. The name was given by the scientist Anthony Lavoisier. Lavoisier was a scientist who has given the name for active component as oxygen and inactive component as nitrogen. So the names oxygen and nitrogen were coined by Anthony Lavoisier. So the next we'll see the properties of air. What do you think are the properties of air? The first one is air occupies space. Does air occupy space, children? Yes. How can we say that? The experiment what we are going to do now shows that air occupies space. Please look at the experiment. The experiment should be performed and inserted. The next property is air has weight. Does air have weight? Yes, it does. How can we say that? Here I have two balloons of equal size. Both are inflated. Now, to the blue balloon, I just keep a patch of cellophane tape and on that I puncture it. Immediately, the air will go out. The red balloon has weight. That is the reason why it has tilted. Here what have you done? You have taken two balloons, tied to a stick. As a balance, you have just lifted it. So both are of the same size. You just puncture one balloon Do you know, children, once if you keep a cellophane tape on the balloon and puncture on it, the balloon will not burst. Slowly, the air will go out of the balloon. That's what has happened here. So the weight of the inflated balloon is more than the uninflated balloon. There is a reason we can say that air has weight. The next property is air is essential for burning. Without air, the substances cannot burn. Please have a look at the experiment to prove this. Children, now we have a tray in which we have placed a candle. I am going to light the candle and close it with a beaker. So is the candle burning? Yes. During burning, oxygen is consumed and carbon dioxide is released. So after some time, you have seen that no oxygen is left inside the jar and the flame goes out. Once the candle goes out, the temperature surrounding the candle comes down and the volume of carbon dioxide decreases. So because there is no oxygen supply, the flame has gone out. So by this we can know that air is essential for burning. The next property is air exerts pressure. We'll see how air exerts pressure. Children, I have a syringe in my hand. Now I just open the piston. So what is filled in the syringe? Air. I close the mouth of the syringe with my finger and I push the piston inside. So what is happening? The air is getting compressed. And after this, I am not able to compress anymore because I am applying pressure and the air is also exerting pressure. So because of it, I am not able to compress anymore. Once if I leave my hand, that is if I don't apply any pressure, then the air expands. See. Do you see? This is because my pressure is zero. Only the atmospheric pressure is acting on it. That is the reason why the piston has expanded. The next property is air expands on heating. Children, here I am heating water in a beaker. I'll just bring it to boil. After that, I pour it in a water jar. Then I cover it with a balloon. Because of the heat, the balloon will bulge. The same thing if I keep it in a cold water, the balloon will not bulge. See, now I am placing in cold water. Is there any difference in the size of the balloon? No. The balloon expanded when we kept in hot water. But when we kept in cold water, the balloon did not expand. So, air expands on heating. In air, there are many different types of gases present, like nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, noble gases like argon and other gases. There is also little amount of water vapor present. Now, how much percent of each component is present? That we'll see. Do you know what is the most abundant gas in nature? The most abundant gas in nature is nitrogen. Now we'll see the percentage of each component present. In our atmosphere, we have 78% of nitrogen, approximately 21% of oxygen, 0.03% of carbon dioxide, and 0.01% of hydrogen, and 0.94, that is approximately 0.1% of argon. These are the percentages of the different components present in our atmosphere. Now we'll see the evidence for constituents of air. First, we'll see the evidence of oxygen and nitrogen present in air. The experiment what we are going to perform is bell jar experiment. Now children, I have a tray and I am pouring a colored solution into the tray. Then I light the candle and place a beaker over it. So slowly, when the candle is putting off, the water level rises up. Are you able to see the rise in water level? The 1/5 of the portion that supported the combustion is oxygen, and the remaining 4/5 is nitrogen. So this shows the evidence of both nitrogen and oxygen present in the air. Then, the evidence for carbon dioxide in air. So the experiment to be performed is, when we blow air into calcium hydroxide, we get a milky precipitate. That is, lime water turns milky. This shows the evidence of carbon dioxide in air. The experiment to be performed. Then, the evidence of water vapor in air. When we heat the anhydrous copper sulfate and leave it like that, it will get exposed to air and the color changes. So this shows that water vapor is present in air. The experiment to be included. Then we'll see the uses of components in air. First, we'll see nitrogen. Children, do you know what are the uses of nitrogen? Nitrogen gas is used as a replacement of air where oxidation is undesirable. So wherever oxidation is undesirable, it is replaced with nitrogen. For respiration, we need oxygen. But if a person is supplied with a pure oxygen, the tissues will get oxidized and there are chances that the person may die. So when we are giving artificial respiration, we will never give pure oxygen. There are holes to the mask. And through that, oxygen will be supplied along with air, which contains nitrogen. So nitrogen is useful for replacing the air where oxidation is undesirable. The next use of nitrogen is used in food storage to keep the packaged foods or bulk foods fresh. Here what they do is, just before packing, they'll pump nitrogen gas into the packets so that the food will not get spoiled. It will stay fresh for long periods of time. The other use of nitrogen is used in the manufacture of semiconductors or glass. Then liquid nitrogen. Nitrogen will be even in liquid form. The liquid nitrogen will be used as a coolant. So these are the uses of nitrogen. Now we'll see the uses of oxygen. Oxygen is used in aeroplanes. Above our seats, we have oxygen cylinders, and when the pressure is very high and when we get difficulty in breathing, immediately there will be a drop down of oxygen mask which we can keep. Then oxygen is also used for cutting and welding of metals. The other use of oxygen is for burning substances. It is nothing but combustion. So oxygen is the main component for combustion. The other use of oxygen is, you all know this, the respiration of living things. All living things need oxygen for respiration. Then, another use of oxygen, even in oxygen there is a liquid form, there is liquid oxygen. And this especially is used in the upper stages of the spacecraft as a fuel. That is, this black one is the upper stage. In this upper stage, we use liquid oxygen in combination with liquid hydrogen as a fuel. Then we'll see the uses of carbon dioxide. Can you say at least one use of carbon dioxide, children? Carbon dioxide is used in large quantities as solid carbon dioxide or dry ice. This is used in refrigeration. Normally, you might have seen during pulse polio, they'll be carrying cans. Those cans which contains the pulse polio, the polio drops, contain dry ice. And another thing, you'll be seeing these carts, vending carts, right? So these ice cream vending carts also use dry ice. The other use of carbon dioxide, you all know this, it is photosynthesis. So with the help of carbon dioxide, sunlight and water vapor, the plants prepare their own food. So this process is photosynthesis. And the other use is, it is used as fire extinguishers. This is used to put off fire. And carbon dioxide is also used in your favorite drinks, that is the carbonated drinks. In all the carbonated drinks, there is carbon dioxide present. Then, we'll see the uses of water vapor. Water vapor is used to control evaporation. How? The air already contains moisture. So it cannot hold more moisture than its capacity. So that is the reason why the water in the lakes, rivers or seas will not evaporate completely. Then, water vapor is used for determining the climatic conditions, and it is also used for plant and animal growth. Then, we'll see the variation in composition of air. Suppose if you take forests, what do you think the amount of oxygen is? Is it more or less? In forests, there is more amount of oxygen. Why? The carbon dioxide will be taken by the plants for photosynthesis, and the product released is oxygen. So in forest there are so many plants. All the plants will release oxygen. So there will be more amount of oxygen at forests. Then in industrial areas. In industrial areas, there will be more amount of impurities. So because of impurities, we cannot breathe. It will be suffocating. So the oxygen amount is less. Then in deep seas also the oxygen is less. Why? Why cannot we breathe in water? We cannot breathe in water because our lungs do not have enough surface area to take the oxygen from water. The lining of our lungs is very thin and it is adapted to air rather than water. But oxygen is very sparingly soluble in water. That is almost insoluble in water or very less soluble. Then how do the aquatic animals live in water? The fishes will respire through their gills. They do not have lungs. So they do the respiration through the gills. And because fishes are cold-blooded, they do not require that much of oxygen. Whereas the marine mammals means whales, dolphins, seals, all these come under the category of mammals. They do not have sufficient oxygen in water. That is the reason why they do the periodic jumps. Do you see the dolphin periodically it will jump from water? It is to take the oxygen from the atmosphere. That is the reason why when we go into the deep sea for diving, we use the oxygen mask. With the help of oxygen mask, we'll get the oxygen because we cannot breathe in water. Then, at high altitudes, even at high altitudes, the amount of oxygen is less. Before we know why there is less amount of oxygen at high altitudes, we should know the different layers of atmosphere. Once if we know the layers of atmosphere, then we'll see about why oxygen is less at high altitudes. So there are different layers of atmosphere which are troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere and thermosphere. So what are the different layers? Troposphere, then stratosphere, mesosphere and thermosphere. We'll see each layer in detail. First we'll see troposphere. This is the most important layer because all the living things will live in this layer because it is almost 80% is covered with oxygen. That is, it contains over 80% of all the air in the atmosphere. So this is very important layer for living things. The next layer is the stratosphere. This is just above the troposphere. There is a thin division between the troposphere and stratosphere. That is called tropopause. And in this stratosphere, the planes, that is the aeroplanes, will travel, and there is also ozone layer present in this layer. That is the stratosphere. Then comes the mesosphere. This is the third layer of the atmosphere. And they do not absorb lot of warmth from the sun. And the fourth layer of atmosphere is the thermosphere. This is the last layer and it is the thickest layer. And even in this layer, there is very high temperatures which will exceed 1000 degrees centigrade. So the sun's rays are very strong in this layer and they create very high temperatures. The concentration of oxygen is same, that is 21%. But because of high pressure, here there will be more number of oxygen molecules. The same thing if you see at high altitude, that is if you go to this layer, see here you are able to see it is 350 kilometers. So if you go to this high altitude, what happens is pressure will be reduced. Because the pressure is less, there are fewer molecules of oxygen. The fewer molecules of oxygen, the thinner is the air. That is the reason why at high altitudes there is less amount of oxygen. Although the percentage of oxygen is the same, the thinner air means less oxygen to breathe. So it will be difficult for us to breathe at high altitudes. Now we'll see what all we have discussed in this session. First, we have seen the different properties of air, then the types of atmospheres and the evidence to show the each composition in air, and before that we have dealt with the composition of air. So what are the different types of atmosphere? The different layers, the troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere and thermosphere. And what does the air contain? What is the composition of air? Nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, inert gases or noble gases. These are the main components. I hope all of you have understood the session. Thank you, children.